Picture this. You're driving up through far North Queensland, the sun blazing overhead, cicadas screeching in the bush, and the air so hot it feels like it's pressing down on you. Suddenly, it appears, a mountain unlike any other. Jet black, towering, silent. The locals call it Kalkajaka, the Mountain of Death. For centuries, travelers, stockmen, even police have gone in and never come back out. Search parties, dogs, horses, all baffled. And the strangest part, even today, with all our modern gear, pilots won't fly over it and locals won't go near it. By the time we're done here, you'll see why this place is feared. And hey, before we dive in, hit like and subscribe right now, because what you're about to hear is one of Australia's most chilling mysteries. Black Mountain lies about 25 kilometers south of Cooktown, way up in Queensland's Cape York Peninsula. At first glance, it doesn't look alive, but it doesn't look natural either. Imagine a mountain made not of dirt or forest, but of massive boulders, cracked, jagged, stacked one upon the other like a giant's rubble heap. From a distance, it almost resembles ruins, the wreckage of some lost civilization. The traditional custodians of the land, the Kuku-Nyunkal people, named it Kalkajaka, the place of the spear or mountain of death. To them, this wasn't a landmark to picnic at, it was sacred and dangerous. Elders warned that if you wandered among the stones, spirits would drag you down into the earth. When Europeans arrived in the 1800s, they dismissed those warnings as superstition. But soon, their cattle strayed into the rocks and never came back. Horses vanished. And then it was men. And here's the thing, more than a century and a half later, the fear hasn't gone away. Locals still avoid it. Pilots fly around it. Scientists poke at it, but none of them have fully explained it. So let's dive into the story of Black Mountain, Australia's Bermuda Triangle. For countless generations, the Kuku-Nyunkal people told stories about this place. Some say the mountain was formed when two giant brothers fought to the death over a woman. They hurled boulders at each other until both fell, and their bodies were buried beneath the mountain of stone. The battlefield became eternal, frozen in rock. Another story speaks of the devils, malevolent shadow spirits that live in the cracks. Those who dare enter are seized and dragged down into the dark. Elders said the mountain wasn't just rock, it was alive, and those who ignored the warnings risked more than death. They risked their very spirit. There's also the rainbow serpent. Some believe Kalkajaka hides the serpent's passage, the stones piled to cover the gateway to the underworld. Disturb it, and you'd unleash its fury. And then there's the tale of the black cockatoos and the white cockatoos. According to tradition, the two tribes of birds fought a great battle over the land. The black cockatoos won, and their color was etched into the stones themselves. To this day, black cockatoos circling the mountain are seen as guardians of its secrets. Even without the stories, the signs were there. Birds avoided nesting in the rocks. Kangaroos wouldn't graze near the base. Strange groans and hisses echoed through the boulder field at night, as though the mountain was breathing. Think of it like the rules your grandparents laid down. Don't whistle at night, don't play with a Ouija board. You don't always know why, but the warning gets under your skin. Black Mountain is that warning, only carved into the land itself. By the 1870s, Cooktown had become a busy port during the Palmer River Gold Rush. Drovers and graziers pushed cattle through the scrub, and couriers ferried supplies across the frontier. That's when the mountain's reputation spread beyond legend. In 1872, grazier Philip Grainer went searching for missing cattle near the base of Kalkajaka. He was spotted heading towards the rocks, and then nothing. Days later, his horse was found, still saddled, but no sign of Grainer. No boots, no hat, no bones. He'd simply vanished. Locals scoured the boulder fields. Searchers swore they heard faint cries echoing through the cracks. When they followed the sounds, they found only silence. Not long after, courier Jimmy Wren cut across the foothills. He, too, disappeared. The Cooktown Courier wrote at the time that it was as if the earth had swallowed him whole. That phrase, swallowed by the earth, stuck because it captured exactly what people feared. The mountain didn't just take lives, it consumed them. Even hardened stockmen admitted unease. If men could vanish in broad daylight, what chance did cattle or horses have? And sure enough, entire mobs were said to have wandered too close and disappeared. By the end of the 19th century, Black Mountain was already infamous. But the story that really cemented its dark reputation came in the 1880s. An outlaw named Sugarfoot Jack was on the run. He'd been tracked north and cornered near Calcajaka. Witnesses saw him dash into the boulder fields, with armed policemen right behind him. That was the last time any of them were seen. Not Jack, not the police, no bodies, no rifles, no uniforms. The search went on for weeks. Locals joined in, combing the labyrinth, but all they found was heat. Men spoke of an oven-like atmosphere inside the rocks. Some collapsed from exhaustion. Others came back shaken, swearing they'd heard voices calling their names. One searcher said he felt hands tugging at him, though no one was there. Newspapers across Queensland ran headlines, "The Mountain That Eats Men." It wasn't just folklore anymore, it was fact. A fugitive and the lawman chasing him, swallowed together. Imagine the scene in your mind, a dusty chase through the scrub, men on horseback, guns drawn, ending not in gunfire, but in silence, as though the mountain itself had claimed the lot of them. The disappearances didn't stop. In 1890, Constable Ryan was sent to track another wanted man near the mountain. He rode into the rocks and never returned. No trace of him was ever found. In 1932, two well-known bushmen, Harold Owens and George Hawkins, entered Calcajaka. They'd gone in before, but this time they didn't come out. Their families waited. Search parties called their names for days. Nothing. Dogs brought to assist in the searches reportedly refused to enter the boulder field. They howled at the edge, ears flat, tails between their legs. For animals to react like that, it added fuel to the fear. Stories circulated of miners lured by whispers of gold hidden in the cracks. None ever struck it rich, some never returned at all. And it wasn't just people. Drovers swore cattle vanished into the labyrinth. Horses bolted in, never reappeared. Whole mobs of livestock gone. For settlers already battling drought and snakes and isolation, Calcajaka became the one threat they couldn't fight. You'd think in modern times the stories would stop, but they haven't. In 2001, a Czech tourist exploring far north Queensland told friends he wanted to climb Black Mountain. He was never seen again. Despite modern search and rescue, his body was never found. Other visitors described the place as oppressive. One man said standing near the rocks felt like being crushed by the air itself. Another claimed his vision blurred, his chest tightened until he fled in panic. Locals tell of misfortune striking those who disturb the site. Cars break down without cause. Campers fall ill. Guides in Cooktown still warn that Calcajaka is not to be trifled with. And then there are the pilots. For decades, bush pilots reported compasses spinning madly when flying over the mountain. Radios fizzed with static. Some planes hit turbulence that came from nowhere, only to smooth out once they'd cleared the airspace. It's as if Calcajaka doesn't just claim the ground, it reaches into the sky as well. Scientists, of course, have their take. They argue the mountain is nothing more than fractured granite. Over millions of years, heat and erosion cracked the boulders, creating caverns and tunnels. Step in the wrong place, and you could tumble into a crevice deep enough to hide a man forever. Add suffocating heat, venomous snakes, collapsing rock, and you've got a natural death trap. That explanation works, to a point. But it doesn't explain everything. Where are the bones? Why do compasses spin? Why do people hear voices? Some researchers propose infrasound, low-frequency vibrations caused by wind moving through the cracks. Infrasound is known to trigger nausea, dread, even hallucinations in humans. Could that explain the feelings of fear and the phantom cries? Others point to electromagnetic anomalies. Places like the Bermuda Triangle are said to have similar effects on navigation instruments. Could Calcajaka sit on a magnetic hotspot? And then there are the wilder theories. Some claim the mountain hides a subterranean alien base. Others whisper of reptilian beings, linked to aboriginal tales of serpent spirits. Cryptozoologists even suggest it could be home to the legendary Queensland tiger, a marsupial predator thought extinct. Skeptics roll their eyes, but believers say too many have vanished for coincidence alone. That's why Black Mountain is called Australia's Bermuda Triangle. Both places share the same eerie signature. Instruments fail, people vanish, and explanations never quite satisfy. In the 1970s, a pilot wrote of his aircraft shaking violently above Calcajaka, as if struck by invisible turbulence. His compass went haywire, then settled only after he cleared the mountain's airspace. And it's not the only place like this. In Scotland, the Ben Macdui Plateau has tales of a giant phantom that stalks climbers. In the US, Point Pleasant is home to the Mothman legend. In Wales, another Black Mountain carries its own vanishings. Even in North Carolina, locals speak of mountains that swallow travelers. It's almost as if the earth has pressure points, places where reality thins, where those who enter risk slipping not just into a crevice, but into another existence entirely. Imagine stepping into a cave where the darkness swallows sound, the air presses on your chest, and every instinct screams at you to turn back. That's what people describe at Calcajaka. Except here, you don't even need to go underground. The dread is right there on the surface. Think of walking into an abandoned house where silence feels heavy and every creak makes you jump. Now multiply that by 10,000 tons of rock. That's the atmosphere of Black Mountain. Even hardened bushmen admit the place plays tricks on the senses. It doesn't just threaten the body, it unsettles the mind. And once fear takes hold, you're already lost. So what is Calcajaka? A geological oddity, a spiritual battleground, or a portal to something we can't explain? The truth may never be known. What is certain is this: over centuries, people and animals have gone in and never returned. The Aboriginal people warned against it, settlers learned the hard way, and modern science still hasn't closed the case. Black Mountain stands as a reminder that some places demand respect, some places resist explanation, and some places may not belong to us at all. If this journey into Black Mountain sent shivers down your spine, give this video a thumbs up right now. It helps more curious minds discover these hidden stories. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss an investigation like this. Share this with your mates and drop a comment below. Would you dare step onto Calcajaka even for a moment, or would you heed the warnings and steer clear? Your voice matters, and together we'll make sure stories like this are never erased from history.